guys. Hey, and welcome back to the Gulf Coast Growth Show. I'm your host, Jason Lee, and I am here today with Dr. Brenda Hellyer, the Chancellor at San Jacinto College, the main campus, and we are excited to have you today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here.
Yeah, and if you're not regular with the show, we here at the Gulf Coast Growth Show, part of the Economic Alliance Houston-Port region, our mission is to make sure that we spread the good word of the great things that are not only happening in this region, but how this region impacts the rest of our nation and the rest of our great state here in Texas. And there's some phenomenal things happening that we want to talk about with your college. And again, thank you for joining us today. So as we dive in, can you just give us a quick scope and kind of a scale of what you guys do, what you have to offer the students, and really what makes San Jac so unique?
Okay. Well, I'm delighted to be here, and San Jacinto College is unique. So we have 5 campuses. Our fall enrollment will be around 31,000 students, and we are really focused on university transfer and workforce training programs. And, you know, they all come together. The bottom line is no matter where you go through transfer, workforce, you need jobs. And so our job is to get our students into the workforce. So about 65% of our students are taking courses to transfer to University of Houston, A&M, UT. Those are some of our largest transfer partners, U of H, Clear Lake. And then they're taking workforce courses. They're wanting to get credentials to go into the workforce. Petrochem, maritime, automotive. We are really doing a lot in the nursing, health science area, and so it is about getting students into the fields they need to be productive. And our students aren't just any age. When we do commencement, our youngest student graduating with associate could be 16. Our most senior, 72 to 73.
Wow.
So we serve everybody. And we really are focused on serving our community. In our taxing district, we serve the districts of Sheldon, Channelview, Galena Park, Pasadena, LaPorte, and Deer Park.
Wow.
And so that really is kind of our focus area. But then we also know we have students coming all across Houston, and Clear Lake is a big partner with us too. But it is about getting students into the workforce.
Fantastic. And you in addition to your 5 campuses, do those 5 include the Maritime and the Petrochem? Is that
so Petrochem is part of the Central Campus,
okay.
And Maritime, yeah, that includes that's one of our campuses. We have a Generation Park campus, which is up at Westlake, Houston, and Beltway 8, and then our South Campus is off of Beamer, and our North Campus is off of Uvalde.
Fantastic. And for those that are not aware, we've hosted and or had several folks on the show that have been part of San Jac, but they have done some amazing things and having built a maritime facility that's unmatched, I think, in anywhere really, where
that's true.
We can get people trained up and queued up to be prepared to be boat captains and drivers and work on these boats, everything that you can imagine out there, and then a huge phenomenal petrochem facility that's been supported by a lot of the folks that are involved with this organization.
So, you know, one of the real benefits, and I think one of the things that we've done so well at San Jac is connecting with our business partners. When you talk about maritime, you talk about petrochem or the health sciences, the nursing profession, it's really about those relationships. We can't do our work without understanding what our community needs. And so Maritime was created because the Port of Houston, several of the industry members came and said, we need a workforce. And so we listened, we tested some things. We've never done U.S. Coast Guard approved courses before, and we got a lot of industry support, and so that's how the Maritime Campus got formed. That campus is really focused on the incumbent worker and making sure they keep their U.S. Coast Guard certifications, and then driving the pipeline with new kids coming into the profession out of high school or people who never thought maritime was an option. You know, so many times with these jobs, they don't realize what we have here in this region. Maritime, there are so many jobs related to maritime, and so that's what we're doing is training for that. Petrochemical was very similar. We've been doing that training since the late 60s, but the industry's changed significantly. What industry needed from us changed, and so that's how the petrochemical facility was designed. It's designed to be the day in the life of an operator.
Yeah, it's like a miniature plant. I mean,
it really is.
How it works.
Yeah. And the industry partners, when they met with us, they said, we want this to be the best in the country. They actually said the best in the world, and so that's how that was designed. And when you look and you see the LyondellBasell naming of the building, but you see Dow Chemical, Shell, you see all of our big partners at the table. You can go in there and see about 30 names of industry members, and they design from curriculum all the way into how do you have really a safety culture.
That's amazing. And while it might not have been on our agenda today, I do want to bring up the important nature of workforce development and why it's so critical. And can you give us some insight as to why? Because it's a systemic problem, like
right.
trying to find employees. I mean, when I'm talking to business owners and operators in this area, whether they're in industrial or construction, manufacturing, whatever it is, everybody's. And I even read the other day as they were talking about recession, they said it's going to be a white collar recession because the working man. They need them. There's an abundance of need for those guys. And so how is it that San Jac tries to, I guess, communicate a story to get more young adults involved in workforce development, or maybe get your programs out there, because maybe kids on the other side of town don't know they even exist over here.
Well, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. So we have significant marketing efforts, but that only works so far. But it really is relationships like Economic Alliance and what we're doing getting into the high schools, going into 8th grade, doing a lot of career focus groups so people can see what options are, meeting with parents, counselors, and expanding that. And then just being at the table. We are really making sure that we get out into the community. And it's not just the pipeline of young people graduating, but it's even those workers who are unemployed or underemployed right now. So how do we connect with them? And I think sometimes people don't realize all the resources that are out there to help them too. Right now, we have a program called Finish Line that's available with resources to help people who have left college. They've been out for 6 months or more and they've got a need to come back. If they reach out to us, and these funds are running out, so it's got to be quick, we can get them into some different programs in maritime, in automotive, in our nursing program, and help support them with funds. And so I think it's about just continuing to market and reach out.
Fantastic.
And we're involved in everything. I mean, we're involved in about 15 chambers, 4 economic development groups. We are constantly making sure we're out in the community.
You guys do a great job of that, and I'm thankful for that work. Now, we were just talking about some of the programs and things that you have going on. Tell us a little bit about the Aspen Top 10 Award that San Jac received.
Okay. Well, we're an institution focused on our students. We are about students completing what they start, and we look at that as being a course, a semester, but ultimately it's a credential. And so that's been our focus for years. And so the Aspen Top 10 Award starts with Aspen looking at 1,100 community colleges throughout the country. Okay. And they look at data that's available from graduation rates, different data that Department of Ed has. And they take that 1,100 community colleges and they picked 150. From there, those 150 institutions are asked to pull together documents, data, make some narratives about what are you focusing on at your college. And you're working on data around market outcomes. How are your students doing after they graduate? What are you doing to make sure they're learning? How are you reaching into your community? And then how's your equity work? Are all areas of your communities being impacted by the work you're doing? And so we've been lucky enough to be in that top 150. Wow. From there, then you get selected based on all the information, and you can make it to the top 10. So we've been in the top 10 4 times. And with that, then you have a site visit. And so they send an interview team for 2 to 3 days. They meet with about 150 people. And it is from our students, our faculty, our staff, our board, our partners from education, our partners in the business community. And so we have finished twice in the top 5. And so right now we are in the running for the 2023 Aspen Prize. We're in the top 10, and we'll have our interview at the end of August.
Wow, okay.
The ultimate goal is to become the #1 where you win $1 million. And I say the ultimate prize. Really, we're doing this work for our students, and it's not about the recognition but that's great for our community and for our students and all of our employees to see. So that's how it works.
So
And
when you win the $1 million, are you going to take an early retirement?
no, that $1 million is going to be to really continue to expand our efforts in the community. So that was a good pull, though.
No, I know you said it's there's no better way though, because we obviously know that money would be reinvested back into the school.
Right.
But to know that $1 million is out there for the work that you've done, I mean, what a signature opportunity. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, imagine what could be done next with something like that.
That's exactly how we look at it, and we're really focused on, again, how do we continue to improve. We're an institution focused on continuous improvement. We don't just say that. We continue to look at what we're doing. We accept all students who apply, and so that means, how do you meet students where they're at and help them get through the pipeline? And that doesn't mean that you're lowering standards or anything. We keep very high standards, but it's about making sure you got tutoring, making sure you got mental health resources, the food pantry. Our students, there's free meals on lunch. So if you're a student who had been in a high school program and you don't have a place to eat, you can come on our campus and we take care of you. So,
wow.
So there's a lot happening, but all of those take resources, and so it's just a matter of how do you continue to expand that, and that $1 million would just continue to help us do our work.
That's unbelievable, and that's a lot of those like little nuances you don't realize exist, and they're going on behind the scenes, because a lot of kids, you know, they're in a position where maybe they get sent off and they're in a major college, or have that opportunity, and because of the blessings or things that they've been able to have, they get put in a position so they're not worried about grabbing where they're going to eat, or they're not worried about where that's going to come from. But there's a lot of kids who don't have that option. And
that's exactly.
Maybe the path is they might be the first person to get out of their home and get any type of education, right? And then for them to be able to know they can get a meal, or that there's support or assistance or things that are available, really just speaks to the culture and the community that you guys have already kind of created. And then, I mean, I can't think of anybody who deserves $1 million more.
Well, thank you.
So let's talk, speaking of things that have helped the school, I think you guys have also received a pretty substantial donation recently. Can you talk to us about that and maybe the plan for that gift?
Sure. It was a pretty amazing donation. So it came about a year ago, and it's a $30 million donation from Mackenzie Scott and her son Dan Jewett. And
oh my gosh.
yeah, so substantial. And I have to tell you the story. I got an email. It was one of those cryptic emails that IT would tell you not to look at, or you should.
Yeah.
And it had said that anonymous donor was interested in making a donation to San Jack, and do I have time for a phone call? And I debated back and forth what to do, because it was just the email address looked odd to me.
Right.
So then I don't respond right away, sent it to a couple of people on my team and asked them, I said, what do you think? And none of them knew anything about it. So I got another email that night, and it said the donor wanted to talk, or the agent of the donor wanted to talk the next morning at 8:15. Was I available? So I decided, we got to do this. And so got a phone number to call. I blocked my cell number, called that number. I was in Austin in a hallway waiting to go into a hearing. And the donor said that, or the person on the phone said that Dan Jewett and Mackenzie Scott had selected our college for a substantial donation. And this was a donation that was unrestricted, and was they wanted it designed for whatever we needed. And so I said, well, how'd they select us? And she said, well, they selected you based on what you're doing to make sure all members of your community are being served, and that you're reaching into low economics and all the minorities, and that our reputation had really been known throughout the country. And and so that then they just said, and the question is, do you want this in one payment or multiple? And I said, well, how much are we talking? What's substantial? And then they told me it was $30 million. And I said, can you repeat that. And they said 30 million. And so I said, well, I think we're going to take that in one payment. And so then it became, it needed to be kept anonymous until the donors decided to come out public. I could tell my board, we had to go into our foundation. So it was $30 million got wired in last May. And so we
That's
have...
amazing.
Pretty amazing.
Right.
So
how did that feel at that exact moment?
I was shaking so bad I don't even know if I could get up. So it was.
Where does that rank in, like?
It's the highest donation we've ever gotten.
Maybe not donation, but I mean, I'm on a personal level. Like, I mean, top 10 feeling?
Oh, it's a top 10.
Made it top 10. Awesome.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it was just amazing. So what we did originally is we couldn't announce who the donor was, but we went to all the high school graduations in our taxing area, and we made announcements that there would be scholarships for all those high school seniors. And so we had our people in our advising area, our outreach areas go. We made the announcement in English and Spanish, and families just were cheering. And so that's what we did last summer.
Wow.
And
that's so cool.
We called that the 21 Forward program because we were coming out of COVID. And so those students only needed to take 6 hours. We knew people were just struggling. And so that was amazing. And we set aside some funds for that. But the rest of it, we've set aside $20 million as an endowment for our Promise program. And the Promise program is available to all high school seniors in our taxing district. And it requires them to go full-time. It'll pay for their tuition for up to 3 years for them to earn an associate degree or credential of their choice. And so, there's steps they got to do. They need to, they have a pledge date, they have an application date, they apply for federal financial aid because we want to leverage it. But it's pretty exciting. So right now, we're looking at around 2,900 students coming for this past May graduates that'll be going full scholarship.
That's unbelievable.
So
that's a lot of lives changed.
It really is. And what we're really looking at is this endowment. We want it to go on in perpetuity. We're going to raise another $10 million just so that we know we've got it pulled together. But it's pretty exciting. It's one of those things that I really believe it's going to change it for everybody in this community. Right now, about 42% of our students are first generation to college. That changes by demographic group. There's our Hispanic students, it's actually 48% our first time in college.
Wow. And
if you look at the college going rate in our whole region here, our community, we were at about 52% of any high school senior going to any college or university after they graduated. Mm-hmm. It dropped significantly through COVID. And so I'm hoping these dollars will help change that. Right. And really have that for the future. We know some college credential is required for the future. You talked about workforce. Mm-hmm. Those jobs, those careers require credentials. So this will help with that. And it's just amazing. It's cool.
We had somebody come on, and I can't remember who the guest was. They were talking about it was mind-blowing to think that there was a lot of kids, a lot of students who didn't have access to just, we're spoiled. I'm spoiled. I think in terms, if you live in Deer Park or if you live even in place of Pasadena, but there were, your kids had computers, there was this,
right.
I'm in Pearland, so we had computers. I mean, like there was never any, there's no way we're not going to continue with education or they're not going to have these problems. To find out that there were thousands and upon thousands of kids who during that season, they didn't have internet.
Yes, that's exactly.
So you're talking about kids who, and I know my child and a number of children still struggled with that environment and getting acclimated back into school and having setbacks. And I mentor a kid that's in one of the school districts, and he struggled just because of the disruption. But imagine a kid that didn't have all those resources.
You're exactly right.
Like the only food that they typically got or internet that they got or resource that they got was when they left home to go to school, and then they're told they can't go to school. Then what? So I guess it makes perfect sense to think about how much it could have a setback for future education. So
that's kid, exactly right? So. Yeah,
almost 3,000 kids now with an opportunity.
That's right. Wow. And what was even interesting in 21 Forward, we had people who were older getting their GED that qualified because they they graduated from high school.
Right.
So they came back. And, that's what this is. It's about future opportunities and about changing lives, but changing families.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah, once you make that one shift, I mean, you can set a family's lineage on a completely different
That's
path.
exactly right. So
Amazing. I know you mentioned earlier you're involved in several different regions, several different
Yes.
districts, multiple economic organizations. Does any particular economic organization stand out?
Well, it's funny. I've been involved with the Economic Alliance a long time, even before it was Economic Alliance.
Oh, wow.
And so when we were SEED, I was had just come on the board. But the Economic Alliance has a real special place. I mean, first of all, you got Chad. Chad Burke is absolutely amazing. He grew up in this area. He understands this area. He's passionate about the area. And so you see that as he leads. And so I'm always going to be involved with Economic Alliance. And even from a standpoint of a small business owner, which my husband has, trying to be involved to make sure how you connect. So it's a special place. Now, on the other side, I think one of the things I love about the Economic Alliance and what Chad's been able to do is being able to work with other economic development groups too. I'm involved with Bay Area Houston Economic Partnership, the Greater Houston Partnership, and Lake Houston Partnership. And I see Chad reaching out to all of those and really engaging because, the work we got to do here, it's a pretty broad area and it takes everybody together. And so, yeah, Economic Alliance has a special place, but it's about how do we best serve this whole region.
I love it. And you guys do a great job of that. And speaking of serving the Alliance, and which you've done a great job and been a critical part of that, talk to us a little bit about your keynote opportunity coming up in October.
Oh, the opportunity I'm the most nervous about. So I'm delighted to be asked to speak at the ladies' luncheon, the women's leadership luncheon. And, I guess our stories are all different. Sometimes you don't, well, at least in my life, it didn't turn out quite the way I had expected now. Mm-hmm. But what a blessing and what an honor it is to serve as the Chancellor of San Jac. So I'm going to talk about that journey. I'm going to talk about some challenges along the way. But really can't give you much more because it's got to be kind of a secret, you know.
No, yeah, well, I think the big picture, we're excited about the Women Alliance and the impact that it's going to have. I think diversity and inclusion has been a really critical calling point for multiple organizations, and I'm really excited that this organization is kind of taking a step forward to really create that. I mean, I know the first event that we had just blew the numbers out of the water, and everyone
I agree.
Has consistently been doing that. I think they book up super fast. You can't get enough seats, and they continue to have to raise the venue, which says people care about it, and it's important. And so we're going to continue to see that. And so I want to thank you for being a part of it. And
well, thank you.
I know I'm excited to hear what you have to say. So.
Oh, great. The pressure's on now.
Pressure's on. So, now, as we get ready to wrap up, is there anything else or anybody else you want to highlight or anything else that you wanted to cover?
Well, the one thing I want to make sure people understand is San Jac serves everybody. Mm-hmm. And so if there's somebody out there who's unsure if they should be going to college and looking, we can help. And while classes start August 22nd, we've got late starts in September, October. It's not too late. So they can go to our website, sanjac.edu. Look around. There's current student information, future student information. There's a lot about programs and about what kind of money can you make when you get done? Because you got to survive. And so it's about careers. And so I want to make sure people know that we're a resource. And I really take pride in the work that this institution does in trying to reach into the community. And I also, again, want to make sure I mentioned that Finish Line program. Mm-hmm. So if there's somebody who stopped out during COVID, they've been out for 6 months or more, know that there's options that we've got available, and these are running out because the funding's running out, so they can go onto our website and look at Finish Line and maybe look at how they might be able to get some resources. But we're just really excited to be a resource and I hope an important part of this community.
Fantastic. And as we wrap up the show, I want to, again, thank you for being on and being a part of it. But also, I would say this. I'm always encouraging my listeners and our audience to make sure they do a great job of spreading the word. I mean, if you can do anything to put this in somebody's hands, it's important. But I can't think of a more critical episode. If I was to go back and look at the viewing on this show and any of our other shows, if there's one episode that people need to see and hear about, I think it's this one, because we mentioned multiple programs and things that could help give somebody a different start for their life, and
Wow.
they exist. And so I would ask that if you would take this, teachers, people that are involved, a kid that you know, parents that you know, that you would put this episode in their hands and let them hear about the work that they're doing. Also let them hear about the opportunities that exist at San Jack, maybe for their kid or for a kid that they, maybe it's somebody they don't even know, but if they were to communicate the story, there would be a chance that would land in somebody's hand. And it might be the right story that needs to be told. And so, because it's such a great thing that you guys are doing. And I learned so much today that I didn't even know that existed. I knew you guys were a great college. I knew you were doing big things. I didn't know about all the programs. I didn't know about all the support. I didn't know about all the help. I didn't know about the free meals for students that need them. And I just think that's a blessing. So please make sure we spread the word. As always, you can follow us at allianceportregion.com. You go to our website, you can subscribe. There's a subscription channel there with media and everything you can do. You can go back and follow us on YouTube, LinkedIn. We have a Facebook page. So stay connected and make sure you spread the good word. And again, Jason Lee signing out this week. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Jason.